Kai's red carpet statement about Songyun breaks the internet, the moment that stopped cameras, reporters, and hearts alike. It began as just another dazzling evening in Shanghai, the annual Golden Starlight Awards, where China's most beloved stars gathered to celebrate a year of cinematic brilliance. The red carpet shimmered with lights, sequins, and anticipation. Photographers shouted names, flashbulbs exploded, fans screamed as luxury cars rolled up one after another. But no one, not even the most seasoned journalist, was ready for what Kai was about to say. Because in one unforgettable moment, beneath 1,000 flashing lights, Kai, one of China's most reserved and enigmatic actors, stepped onto the red carpet, faced a sea of cameras, and uttered a sentence that would leave an entire nation breathless. Hold on tight, C-drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. The moment began innocently. Kai appeared in a perfectly tailored black velvet suit, his trademark confidence radiating under the gold-lit archway of the event. Every lens followed his every move. He paused, turned slightly toward the cameras, and smiled, calm, polished, elegant. A reporter called out, half-jokingly, Kai, people are wondering, is Songyun watching tonight? For a heartbeat, he froze. A small, almost imperceptible smile touched his lips, the kind of smile that hides 1,000 unspoken truths. The crowd chuckled, expecting a playful brush-off. But then, Kai leaned toward the microphone and said, clearly, quietly, and with devastating sincerity, she's not just watching. She's the reason I'm standing here. And in that instant, the entire carpet fell silent. Every camera lens locked in. The laughter died. The reporters, the fans, the flashing lights, all paused as if time itself had stopped. Kai's eyes didn't waver, his voice carried the calm of a man who had made peace with the weight of his own truth. He didn't look nervous. He looked free. The host, caught off guard, stammered, "Can you tell us more about that?" Kai smiled faintly, that same gentle, disarming expression that fans had fallen in love with over the years. "Every role I've played, every time I had to find my courage again, she was there," he said softly. "Some people don't just inspire you, they remind you of who you are." The crowd erupted, gasps, cheers, even tears. Fans in the barricades shouted her name, Songyun. Songyun. Reporters exchanged stunned looks as social media exploded in real time. Within minutes, clips of his statement were circulating across every platform in China. #Kai mentions Songyun, #he said her name, #red carpet confession. All three hashtags skyrocketed to the top of Weibo's trending chart in under 10 minutes. But what made the moment even more powerful was what happened after. When the interviews wrapped, Kai began walking toward the main hall, but before disappearing inside, he stopped again, turned to the fans behind the barricades, and lifted his microphone once more. His voice was softer this time, almost trembling, but still steady enough to be heard through the chaos. "When you find someone who believes in your light, don't let them go. Ever." It was unscripted. Raw. Real. And that was the exact second the internet broke. Within an hour, the clip had been viewed over 50 million times. By midnight, it surpassed 300 million. People across Asia began translating and reposting it in different languages. Fans from Korea, Thailand, and Japan flooded the comments with messages of awe and emotion. One wrote, "That wasn't a statement, it was poetry." Inside the ceremony, Kai carried himself as though nothing extraordinary had happened. But backstage, several witnesses reported seeing him take a quiet call during the commercial break. He walked toward a dim corner, phone pressed close, his voice low. Those nearby swore they heard just 2 words before he smiled and turned away, "She heard." That was all. Later that evening, Songyun posted on her official Weibo for the first time in nearly a month. It was a simple photo, a single white rose placed on a wooden desk beside a handwritten note. The note read, "Some things don't need to be shouted. They're already understood." The post had no caption. No hashtags. No explanation. But it didn't need one. Within minutes, fans connected the dots. She heard him. She answered. The entire entertainment world spiraled into emotional chaos. Fan accounts called it the most romantic public declaration of the year. News anchors replayed his words on television, their voices trembling as they described the atmosphere. Even veteran journalists, used to covering decades of celebrity drama, admitted they'd never seen a red carpet moment quite like this. The next morning, when Shanghai arrived for his interview on Morning Star Live, the host tried to tread lightly. But the question was inevitable. Shanghai, your words last night, they moved millions. What made you say it? He looked down briefly, adjusting his sleeve, then raised his eyes to the camera, that same calm, piercing gaze. Sometimes silence is respect, he said. But sometimes silence becomes distance. I didn't want distance anymore. The studio fell silent. The host nodded, visibly emotional. The clip went viral instantly, reaching 100 million views in 3 hours. Meanwhile, fans noticed something else, subtle, yet unmistakable. Songyun's stylist posted a behind-the-scenes photo from a private fitting earlier that day. On her wrist was a delicate silver bracelet engraved with 3 tiny letters, KAI. The internet exploded once more. Journalists, fans, and even brands scrambled to analyze every detail, the timeline, the words, the gestures. It wasn't just a red carpet interview anymore, it was a moment that had blurred the line between cinema and reality, between performance and truth. That evening, Shanghai posted a single message on his social media: some truths are better seen under bright lights, because they've been hiding in the dark too long. Songyun reposted it within minutes. No comment, no emoji, just a quiet heart. And that heart, that one small symbol, became the heartbeat of the internet. By the end of the night, over 1 billion impressions had been recorded across Weibo, TikTok, and global fan platforms. News anchors began calling it the confession that shook Asia. But for those who had followed Shanghai and Songyun for years, through the rumors, the denials, the quiet companionship behind the cameras, it wasn't just a confession. It was closure. It was truth. It was the moment they'd been waiting for. As one fan wrote under the now iconic video of Shanghai's statement, he didn't just say her name. He said everything his heart had been carrying. And in that red carpet glow, surrounded by chaos, lights, and applause, one man's courage to speak love into the world reminded millions that sometimes, the loudest words are spoken softly. The next day, entertainment headlines all carried the same simple title: Shanghai said her name, and the world fell silent. The following morning, the world awoke still reeling from Shanghai's red carpet revelation. His words, "She's not just watching. She's the reason I'm standing here," had echoed through millions of hearts overnight. Screens across Asia were filled with replayed footage, teary reaction videos, and endless analysis. But amid the frenzy, one question burned louder than the rest: how would Songyun respond? For nearly 24 hours, the actress remained silent. No interviews. No live streams. No posts. Just silence, the kind that makes the world lean in closer. Fans stayed awake across time zones, refreshing her social media every minute, waiting for any sign of acknowledgement. Then, at exactly 8:45 p.m. Beijing time, it happened. Songyun posted a 2-minute video on her official Weibo. No filters, no background music, no brand watermark, just her, sitting by her window, hair tied loosely, wearing a cream sweater that looked almost too big for her small frame. The city lights glimmered faintly behind her, and for a moment, she simply looked at the camera without speaking. Then, softly, with that familiar calm that made her one of the most beloved actresses of her generation, she began, "I saw the video. I heard what he said. And I think the world heard his heart." Her voice trembled slightly, but her eyes were steady. She paused, gathering herself, before continuing, "Sometimes, in this industry, you learn to build walls around the things that matter to you. To protect them. To protect yourself. But when someone stands in front of the world and says your name like that, it makes you realize some truths don't belong behind walls anymore. Fans watching the livestream began crying almost instantly. Comments poured in by the thousands every second. She's talking about him. This is real. She's answering Sukai. Tan smiled faintly, as if reading the collective heartbeat of her audience. Sukai has always been brave, braver than people think. And last night, he reminded me of the same courage we shared when we first started this journey. We were just two people chasing stories, not realizing we were writing one of our own.